What's happening? Today I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of us sort of don't take seriously enough. Don't focus on the benefits of it and sort of overlook, and then as a result suffer in our long-term health. And a lot of people say it's the most important drug that we don't think about. And it's a mental drug. And the one I'm going to talk about today is our sleep and the importance of it. And getting into my sort of health bag this last 6 months, I've really just sort of focused on when I'm going to bed, how long I'm actually bed rotting for, if I'm bed rotting, and sort of what can I do to change my sleeping habits in terms of no caffeine at a certain time so that I don't end up suffering with sort of insomnia or things like this, or just getting my sleep in. So what is the slow burn that we suffer when we ignore sleep? And how do we collect debt? One thing I learned a couple of months ago was that when you sleep, you build up sleep debt if you don't sleep in these selective hours. And I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't know that your sleep gets backlogged. I just thought you either get a good sleep or you get a bad sleep. And then it's just sort of a new day, and that's just what happens. And then your body would then recover to the same level throughout the day, which I was massively wrong. But the thing with sleep is that a lot of people sort of crash at a certain point in the day. And the thing is, you think you just crash like that at the click of a fingers. But really, you don't crash all at once. It's gradual throughout the day. And sleep debt, whilst I thought it just sort of resets the next day, sleep debt isn't just one night. Sleep debt is all of the unpaid hours of sleep that you're not getting to keep your body at an optimum level. And it's how you balance sleep and life, your sleep debt. And it's like, sometimes you might get 6 hours, and all of us have different sleep patterns as well, in terms of how long we actually do need to be asleep to be optimal. But what it is with sleep debt is that if you end up going out and having 4 hours, your sleep debt's going to go up a few hours, and then the next day you will feel rough. And then you'll need to catch up. And a lot of people do this by napping, or you just put yourself to bed earlier that day. I learned the hard way with my sleep, where I really got to grips with, if I'm not going to sleep at, say, 10:30 p.m, which is what I normally try and stick to, 10:30, 11, and I'll get up at 7, I get my 8 hours. But the thing is, when you look at it, before I was looking at it as how I am right now going to bed, when really I should have been looking at it that I was borrowing joy of my future self for the next day. And the thing with this is, when you don't sleep, when you don't put yourself to sleep and just sort of discipline to say, now I'm going to bed, I'm not going to bed rot, you build up this decision fatigue. And that starts with these late nights, and they end up snowballing where you can't get out of this cycle. Because you tell yourself, one more video, one more film, one more scroll, and the cycle never ends. One thing that's been massively pushed in the world since COVID, for me, you see it's more visible, is mental health. And I've always sort of been really focused on it since 2019, 2020, when it sort of was getting the attention it needed. Because I felt as this perfect demographic is that I really started suffering with it, and because I knew the sort of term of what it was, I was thinking about it more, which has seen the rise in it now. And anxiety feels louder when you're sleep deprived. A lot of the time our thoughts will blur, as well as sort of our emotions, where we might be thinking one thing, and then a couple of hours later we go, ugh. It's like when you stay up, you could have had the best day ever, and then you put this sad playlist on just before you go to bed, and it's like, why have I done this? I was in such a good mood today, and I've stayed up too long. I've changed my playlist and my mood, and why have I done this to myself? A lot of the time, when we're trying to sleep, we think, when we think we're thinking, really, we're just overtired and we're overthinking our sleep where we really should just put ourselves to sleep. And really, we're not putting ourselves first by not sleeping, because our health benefits through not only work, but the most important bit is our rest. It's like with gym. Yes, you could go 7 times a week. And yes, in May I was trying to go as much as possible just to sort of discipline myself to go, I can do this, I can put the work in, I can grind. But now I'm in June. I sort of thought about it and go, I need to recover. And sleeping and recovery, that's more important than actually putting in the work, because that's when I give my time to my body to rest. When you don't sleep, your body is quietly breaking down. And that's the reality. Sleep isn't just about shutting your eyes and going to sleep. Like I just said, it's how your body repairs for the next day. And our sleep is just the backstage crew. We are the theatre show for our muscle recovery and the balance of our hormones. And the thing we don't think about with sleep is, yes, train hard. Yes, eat better. But ultimately, what brings this all together is the amount of sleep you're getting. Sleep is the most important thing in our lives to recover and operate the next day. And say if we've got that sleep debt across the week. Burnout in our life starts in the body before it shows in the mind. Like I said, we can get blurred with our mental health when we're not sleeping. But you'll feel it in your muscles and your body before your brain. So a lot of the questions I was trying to ask myself was, why do we stay up then? What is this benefit? And I think a lot of it is, throughout the day, we're overstimulated by people, videos, and we're also just sort of never on our own. So the thing is, when we stay up late in our bed, that's our time for freedom. And when we go out, that's a time for enjoyment rather than stress of work. So this is why we're going out. This is why we're staying up, because there's a freedom of our life that we're not getting in the rest of the 8 hours in our working life. We're trying to relax. We're trying to escape the reality of our life, really. When we're in bed, what have we got to worry about? Whether our bed's nice and comfy, and that's probably it. These late nights we make for ourselves are the freedom that we look for in the day. But a lot of the time, as a result of this, the next day's focus will come at a cost. And this is the same with our patience and also our creativity, which is why we need our sleep. So, I've just told you the reason why we stay up. But what case can I actually give you for going to sleep? A lot of the time, like I said, when I went to sleep, I took sleep as the end of the day. But now, I've changed that mindset and I go, my sleep now determines the start of tomorrow. A lot of the time, now that I'm in my health bag, like I said, my favourite meal is breakfast. And a lot of people miss out on it because they don't get up in time or they don't like being a morning person. I go to bed and I've already got my breakfast planned in my head. And I go, the quicker I go to sleep, the quicker I can wake up and have my breakfast. So that's just sort of a little trait that I carry so that I sleep and just get it over with, in terms of, like, I'm not really thinking about my sleep, I'm just doing it. Our bedroom and our sleep should be sacred to us, where we have to always go back to it at the end of the day It's never going to change unless your mattress gets springy and then it goes horrible on your back, which mine has. But it's literally that place where yes, we have the freedom, but it's when our body just settles and levels out for the day, and we go, whew, day's over. And we need to sort of fall in love with our sleep, because really, this is the self-respect for ourselves in disguise. But it's in a tangible item of our bed where we put our head in a pillow and we rest. And going into sort of deep rest, deep sleep, is not lazy. What it is, sleeping, getting rid of our debt, getting our 8 hours in, it's a luxurious discipline in our life that we take for granted. We got to work, money, live. We've also got to sleep and get the balance. Because our best days will come when we wake up in a better mood, refreshed and recharged. One thing I also wanted to touch on as well is napping and napping culture and the siesta in Spain. And I question myself going, if the Spaniards have siestas and they work, they must be good. But in my personal opinion, and I know people won't agree with this, I can't nap. And I would love to see people's opinions for the benefits of their naps and the most sort of optimal period to have a nap in the day. Because for me, I'm still unsure about napping. And I feel in my life, it's a gamble, especially if I'm getting my sort of decent hours at night. If I did nap and I napped too long in the day, I always then would, say if I've gone for an hour nap, if I then wake up, I will then go to bed an hour later, and then it will mess up my routine for the next day, and it pushes my sleep cycle back by an hour. And say if I did that every day, I would never sleep at a normal, healthy time. And yes, I understand that this recharge hits different sometimes. I think it's got to be timed right, where it's either got to be in an early afternoon, or you just I think that's the only option. Maybe like just after lunch, 12 to 1 o'clock, because then you wake up and it's sort of like you never had the nap in the first place. If I had to choose, I'm picking a full night's sleep over a nap any day of the week, any day of the year, any day of my life. And sometimes you can just tell when you're tired, because sometimes I will be sitting in the lounge and I will just pass out tired and sleep. But I would never put myself to sleep in daylight, because I just can't do it. I sleep when I'm tired at night.